What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be taking a look at Chameleon. That's right, I'm looking forward to this one. So let's see what we've got going on. Let's check it out. As promised, today we'll be taking a look at Chameleon. So let's see what we've got going on. Taking a look at the packaging, we're back to these animated series inspired retro cards. Now these are my favorite retro cards in all of Marvel Legends. It just holds such nostalgia to it. I'm a big fan of the X-Men ones. Those have very 90s feel to them, but this is certainly my favorite of all of the Legends retro cards. There's Chameleon in there. He's looking good. He's got some weapons, extra hands. He's got that J. Jonah Jameson mask. You see the nice image on the card there, animated style. He's got that manipulative mimic, you know it. So in the animated series, of course, he doesn't necessarily use masks, but they did include that. It's a nice accessory, but doesn't necessarily make sense to this figure. Flip it to the back. There's your cartoon image again. There's your little diagram showing you how to swap out hands. That's what you need for the wave. Folks, I'm almost complete with this. That's your important information down at the bottom. There's your blurb. The half-brother of Kraven the Hunter and enemy of Spider-Man, Chameleon is a master of disguise and ultimate undercover spy. Let's get him out of the box. Fresh out of the box, I'm happy that we finally have an animated series version of Chameleon. Now this is a figure that was lacking in the line and certainly needed to be made at some point. One that I feared might end up in a VHS 2-pack, but I am certainly happy ended up on a retro card instead. Now, it took a while, but sometimes it's worth the wait. This really captures what I remember from the animated series in figure form. Now, I don't necessarily have a solely animated series shelf. He's going to go in with my Spider-Man villains. I just like the aesthetic here. I like the look. I like this costume. So for me, it's cool to finally have this version of Chameleon for the shelf. Let's take a closer look. Moving in closer, we can get a good look at this face sculpt. And now, for what amounts to a very simple design, they've really got a lot going on here. You got this great expression in the eyebrow area. That shadowing in the face gives it some good depth. The eyes, they have some life to them. So I really like what they did here with this head sculpt. It came out pretty damn good. Costume is pretty on par with what I remember from the show, so I'm happy with that. The belt is connected to the strap here, so that is all one piece, and does appear to be a separate piece, so you can kind of move that down a little bit into place, but you'll be a little restricted by the shoulder strap here. For your weapons, you do have these two that we've seen many times throughout Marvel Legends. What I'm a little disappointed about is these are the same two weapons that they gave us with Agent Venom, granted in a different color, but they use these two exact weapons for Agent Venom. So you get two figures in the same wave with the exact same set of weapons. I have no problem with reuse of weapons. It makes sense. But as I said in the Agent Venom video, it would be nice to get some new ones every once in a while. And now I kind of even more wish that we got new weapons with Agent Venom. I don't think you needed new ones for Chameleon, but to get the exact same set of weapons with two different figures in one wave, it comes off very lazy. For your hands, you do get your trigger fingers, which are on your vertical hinge. And you get your set of fists, which are on your horizontal hinge. So two good options, makes sense. So I got no problems there. As far as your articulation, the head is going to be limited by this collar piece here. However, that is a separate piece, so you can remove it if you like. However, it does go with the costume, so I won't be removing it. That is a hindrance to your head articulation. So again, you're only going back a little bit and only looking down a little bit as well. Plenty of movement around though, and you do get some rock in there to go along. Shoulder pads are separate pieces as well, so you can move those independently of the shoulder there. Arms move all the way around. Arm does go up only to about there, so you can get it up and out to there. Upper bicep cut, double jointed pinless at the elbow. And no wrist movement there. You can see the cut there. They certainly could have added it, but you don't get any rotation there at the forearm. Hinge at the wrist. Basic ab crunch hip swivel. Leg kicks up and out to there. Back only to about there. And then up and out to there. Upper thigh cut. Double jointed pinless at the knee. You do get a boot cut. And then your hinge and swivel at the ankle. Head is on your more standard peg system there, so you'll be able to change out with a lot of different heads if you'd like to do so. Without the collar, the head will look down to about there, so you're not quite touching the chest, and then up to there. Doesn't give you a lot more movement, but it does give you some additional movement. To give you an idea of what a head swap might look like on this figure, here is your VHS series Peter Parker head. You can see some white in there. The head sits a little bit low, so it doesn't give you a lot of neck. Of course, the collar is there, kind of hiding that neck area, but it fits, but I don't think it looks all that good. Certainly, you have a lot of heads to choose from in the Legends line, so it kind of depends on what you're doing in your display. The J. Jonah Jameson mask does have an indentation in the back of the head there, which allows you to use one of your trigger hands to sort of grasp the mask there. Now, if you're going to include something like this, I think you'd at least like to get one additional hand that is a more traditional grabbing hand, but you can certainly still use that. For comparison, here he is backed up against our previous Chameleon. Now, you can see the new one certainly has some more bulk to the body, definitely taller, so all around a better looking figure. It's more updated, a little bit more modern, so it does, I think, look a little bit better. We could certainly use an updated comic version, not specifically an update of this one, but a more comic-based Chameleon, I think, would be a welcomed addition to a lot of collectors. But this just gives you a good idea of what these two look like. Those of you who kind of held out not purchasing this one because it did go up in price, now's your time. You got this animated series one, and that may look better for you on your shelf, depending on how you're displaying them. And here he is backed up against our VHS series Spider-Man, so that would be essentially our animated Spider-Man. I mean, there are multiple with the retro cards and everything, but I'm pairing it with this VHS one because that is definitely meant to be an animated style. You could also, maybe use like the cel-shaded one, but Chameleon's not cel-shaded, so I'm looking at these two from that perspective. Chameleon, a little bit taller, a little bit more bulkier than your Spider-Man figure here. So that'll kind of give you an idea of how this Chameleon's going to mesh with your Spider-Man figures, depending on which one you're going for. Alright folks, well there you have it. There is your Marvel Legends Chameleon from the Spider-Man retro card wave, hitting Target at the moment, but should be rolling out everywhere else pretty soon, I'd imagine. This figure itself is exactly what I would have wanted for an animated series version of Chameleon. However, it is lacking in some areas. For the weapons, I actually don't think that this one is lacking in the weapons, but this one kind of highlights how Agent Venom is lacking in the weapons, because you do get the exact same set of weapons reused for both. And as I said earlier, I understand that we've had these specific weapons many times throughout Marvel Legends. I just like to see a little bit more variety in the wave. Cool looking figure though. Head sculpt is awesome. Head sculpt looks great. The mask thing is cool, but that I feel like would serve much better in a comic version of Chameleon. So I'm sure we'll see that again. You can mix that with the mask that they gave for Spider-Man and do a lot of different things with that. So there's certainly potential there. It's a cool thing to have. It's not going to end up in my display, but still a nice little tidbit to throw in there. Could have seen some extra hands. I think a better grabbing hand would do justice to holding that masthead. But all in all, like I said, this is kind of exactly what I would have wanted for a chameleon figure on the retro card. It's got what I need, maybe some alternate heads, specifically chameleon heads, not like any other character, but just with some different expressions. But I say that every time, right? At a minimum, I want 2 heads to go with every figure, but we only get this one. But this one does look great, so it's a good option. This is a good update for me. This is going to look great in my display, so I'm certainly looking forward to that. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it, folks, but that's my 2 cents. Do what you want with that information. I certainly appreciate you checking out the video, hanging out this long if you have. Of course, you can always find me on any of these socials down here. Most importantly, though, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe below. And until next time, take it easy.